Today on this 2015 Tiffin Allegro Open Road, we're going to review and install the Roadmaster battery charge line kit for motorhomes, part number RM-156-75. You'd use this in a situation where your RV already has its charge line already used for a different purpose, so we can just add this on. Let's go ahead and cover the parts. First off, you got a long length of wire right here, 12 gauge material. Circuit breaker would go between your battery and your towed vehicle. Wire loom material to help protect the wire if it goes around any sharp corners or bends. And of course, some zip ties to secure that wire. And finally, the connections you need to make to your circuit breaker here, and a connector to go to the positive side of your battery, and some self-tapping screws to attach your circuit breaker. All right, now we measured out our wire here. It came in the kit, comes out to 29 foot. Now our RV here is going to be a little bit longer than that, so we're going to have to add some extra 12 gauge wire to it. Let's go ahead and cover the installation of it. We need access to our battery. Next, we'll go ahead and find a location for our circuit breaker. It's best to be mounted to something metal here. We got all our components pretty much take up a lot of space, or sometimes the frame is here and it's just too thick to work with. But if we look behind this component right here in the shroud, there's a metal bracket I think we can use and attach it right here. So we'll cut away what we need for our circuit breaker and attach to this metal bracket right behind here. We'll remove the screw and cut away the shroud. We have this nice spot right here for a circuit breaker. Now, since this does come with its own fasteners if needed, but let's go ahead and reuse existing fastener and help hold it up for us. We'll put it back into place. Now, I don't want it sitting against this assembly right here, so we'll have to tilt it a little bit as we tighten it down. And then we'll use one of the self-tapping screws on the bottom. Now, to install a fastener, we'll need a drill and we'll need a 5/16 nut driver. At this point, we can go ahead and start adding our wire. First off, we're going to start from the copper side here of the circuit breaker. That's going to go directly to the battery. So we'll measure out a length going out to our battery. And we'll go ahead and crimp on the ends to it. One thing to note while you're installing your circuit breaker too, ideally you want as close to the battery as possible. We weren't able to really do that with this frame on this vehicle, but keep in mind, just try to be as close as possible and that'll work out for the best. We'll go ahead and strip the wires, twist them. And what I like to do is actually fill the butt connectors up with some dielectric grease to kind of help protect it. Just a little squeeze on the inside in here, just enough to coat the wires. And this is going to be part number 11755. Get a good set of crimpers for this. We have our side done for our circuit breaker. We're going to repeat the same process for the other end of the wire that'll go to our battery. And we'll tighten down the nut using a 3/8 socket. Now we'll leave this end of our wire as a connection to the battery is the last thing we do. That way, so when we run our other wire, we don't create a short while we're running it towards the back. Now for our leftover long length of wire, we'll go ahead and add our other small ring terminal to it. Okay. We'll take this wire and add it to the remaining terminal on our circuit breaker. Now give me a few moments, I'll go ahead and run this wire towards the back as far as I can go, and then see how much I need to add to it. Now our length of wire made it right back to the axle here in the back, so this is where we're going to go ahead and add some wire. We're going to use a different butt connector here. We'll be using one from Deca, and it's a heat shrink butt connector designed for 10 and 12 gauge wires. We'll grip it down into place, and we'll add our extra length of wire. After our connection's made, we'll go ahead and apply heat to it to seal it up. Now we're using the heat gun. Now we can go ahead and continue running our wires out to a 7-pole connector. We run the wire from the front to the rear. We'll make sure we stay away from anything moving like suspension components. Also stay away from the exhaust as well going back. And along the way, we'll go ahead and add some loom material and zip ties to help support the wire. Got our wire ran to the back here now. Let's go ahead and disassemble our 7-pole connector. 4 screws are pieces of hardware that you have to remove. And then we'll go ahead and take out the wires inside. Get access to the wires. There's 2 little set screws that you have to remove. Be careful and don't lose them. We'll push back the loom material because I have to push it through the connector this way. And there's also a set screw in here to kind of help seal up the back end of it. Take out the screw, and there's another little piece that comes out with it. And you take our wires and push them out. A lot of times you can take a screwdriver, kind of work it in there if you get enough room, and use that to push the inside out. We'll take the black wire here, and we'll just go ahead and push it into the loom material of all wires to kind of help keep them together. Go ahead and run that inside. We'll go ahead and cut our wire to length. Strip our wire back. Then we'll add on our extra ring terminal. Also add some dielectric grease to that. Okay, we'll put that back into place, and we'll put that in the tab marked black, or in this case, this one's labeled AX or auxiliary. Typically, you're going to see the BLK or black labeled. Okay. With that into place, we can go ahead and reassemble it. We're a 7-pole connector reassembled. We can go back to the front of the vehicle and make our final connection to the positive side of our battery. We'll remove the nut that connects the wire to the battery, put the ring terminal back over the bolt, and then reinstall the nut. All right, now with everything hooked up, let's go ahead and try it out. We have a fancy tester here to show us that, but this also can be done with a regular test light. We'll go ahead and plug it in and check our gauge and see we got 12 volts from our power wire at the 7-pole connector. And that'll finish it for the Roadmaster battery charge line kit for Motorhomes, part number RM-156-75 on this 2015 Tiffin Allegro Open Road.